It's not for everyone, but it's not for no one. I don't know, like, whatever. It's like, I don't know, but we gonna do it. We gonna try it, you know? I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready. Okay, ready.
So, what's your name?
My name is Jazmine Newman.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my name is Jazmine Newman.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay. And who do you feel you are on a soul level?
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. And I think that the question of who you are as a whole for me, I'm still trying to unpack. Because I think I'm a completely different person from what I was yesterday and what I'm going to be tomorrow. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, on the surface, who am I? I'm a woman. I am a daughter, a sister, a friend. Yeah.
What's your background? Like, what's your ethnicity?
So my dad is Jamaican. He was born in Jamaica. And my mom is American. So I am first generation Jamaican American, I guess. Yeah.
Do you feel like your Jamaican side has a lot of influence on who you are as a person?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
And that's something that I haven't really like dug into, but I know that that's something that I struggle with, because I have friends who are Jamaican and they're like half Jamaican, but they speak patois. They go to Jamaica every summer. They have that history and that culture, and so I don't necessarily have that as much as I would want to. And I think that I don't think it's anyone's fault, but I do know that when my grandparents and my dad and my uncle came over, my grandparents made it a point to try to Americanize them as much as possible so that they wouldn't have the disadvantages of being an immigrant, from having the accent and things like that. And I think that it carried over to us. And so, yeah. So I would like to be more into my Jamaican culture. And I think that now that's something that I will do on my own, and it won't be necessarily like passed down to me.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. So there are 3 categories.
Okay.
And these things don't necessarily have to relate to each other. I guess it just depends on what kind of person you are.
Okay.
So there's love, sex, and relationships.
Okay.
Okay. Society, culture, politics is 2, and spirituality and religion is 3.
Okay.
So which one of those groups of things do you relate with or care about the most, and which group of those things do you like not really care about or don't relate with at all?
I think I'm more so with the love and relationship, that one, and then I think I like all of them, but I think that the love and relationship one is more so that speaks out to me. Spirituality and religion, I have struggled with that, and I think maybe we'll get into that, but I've struggled with that, but I'm still trying to find that. Religion, not so much, but definitely my spirituality and my connection with God and higher power. Yeah.
Okay. So you started out with love, sex, and relationships. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, that and why it's most important to you, or you relate with it most.
I think that love, sex, and relationships, it plays a big part of who you are, I think. Because we've all had heartbreak, we've all experienced love, and I think that it changes us in every time, every heartbreak, every new love, every relationship, friendship. It changes us, and if we I don't want to say if we do it the right way, but if we take what we need to take from it, it'll help us grow. Everything in life is a lesson. And so I think that I have been through the worst relationships, and the best relationships, and I've learned to take pieces from that, and move forward, and learn how to grow within myself. Love, to be honest, I think that not just in relationships, but loving yourself, and loving life. I think that sounds really cliche, but you know, I struggled with depression and anxiety and all these things, and the littlest things about loving life, about, you know, it's a nice day outside, so you just embrace that. I think that is important. I think that people miss that and miss the little things in life, and you know, they let all the struggles and huge things encompass who they are and their everyday, and they forget the little things. And sex, I love sex. It's great. No, I think that honestly, I'll be honest. I definitely used sex at a point in my life to feel something, because I wasn't, and that was something that I can control. That feeling, that emotion, that whatever it was, I could control that. And I think also in my it's weird. It kind of helps me with my self-esteem of my body, I guess, because I was choosing who I was giving it to. I was choosing, you know, my boundaries or the way that I went about it, and I found a personal love for my body, through sex. And I don't know how that's gonna come across. I don't know.
No, it's great.
But yeah. So yeah.
Okay. What do you feel about, I guess, how our generation looks at love and sex? Like, I feel like some people hold it very sacred, and other people are just like, I'm gonna fuck everybody.
Yeah,
so
no.
Like...
I agree. I think that our generation is they're very judgmental, and it's everyone wants to have an opinion on everyone else's life and everyone else's journey and experiences. I think that I used to be very protected with my body, with, you know, sex. I was like, and this is not a judgment on anybody, because I have friends, you know, if people was like, you know, like, no, this is sacred, this is like, I have to have such a bond with you, and that is perfectly okay. But for me, I think that my, I guess, fear, or my, I don't know the right word, but my whatever, was that I wasn't comfortable with my body, and I wasn't comfortable with who I am. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh no, like, I can't just be out here, you know, giving it to everybody. And I think that it's a lot more difficult for women, because you have that stigma of, you're a slut, you're a whore, she's thought, and she's for everybody, you know. But then on the flip side, guys, oh yeah, he's big man on campus, that's player, you know, right. He got all the big, like, no. And I think that is damaging for women and girls growing up, and it messes with their self-esteem. And I think that that's something that in society we're still working on, and we're still getting out of. You know, Amber Rose did the slut walk, and I think that the messaging that she's trying to convey is positive, and I think that that's something that we need. I think that we need girls growing up to be empowered by themselves, and not to think that, you know, I can't be as sexual as a man because I will be a slut, or I will be a hoe, or something like that. And then therefore they don't embrace their bodies, they don't love themselves for themselves. They do everything for the pleasure of a man. And I think that is wrong. And I think that's something that society definitely, and as our generation, we need to get out of, because that's not fair. So yeah, I think, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm going off on tangents about
No, it's
everything,
perfect.
but
no,
yeah.
You hit it right on the head. So your spirituality and religion, that's the second thing you said. So where are you in like the trouble of like finding, I guess, your comfy space in spirituality?
I grew up Catholic. So both my parents are Catholic. I was baptized, all that good stuff. And I think we went to church every Sunday. I was an altar server, like really active in the church. Went to Catholic school. So religion was kind of, I don't want to say drilled into me, but it was something that I had. And I think around the time that I came out, I was like...
And how old were you when that happened?
I was 13. No, I wasn't. Sorry. When I officially came out to like my parents and had a relationship, everything, I was a freshman in college.
Okay.
But I knew younger, and it was funny. I would have conversations with my dad. I'm like, so if I were, how would you feel? Like, would you still love me? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so I think that's when I really started to struggle with religion, because the Bible says, homosexuality is bad, it's a sin, all this stuff. And it was weird because I would go to church and I would sit there and I would feel so uncomfortable. And I would think that everyone is judging me and everyone's looking at me and everyone knows, and it's like I just couldn't be there. And so I told my mom, like, I can't go. And she's like, well, that's something that you have to do. You have to figure that out for yourself. And it was great because she was very supportive about that. But she did tell me, because she's, Catholic and she has her faith and beliefs, she was like, I want you to figure out your relationship with God and a higher power and figure that out. It doesn't have to be in church. It doesn't have to be through Catholicism, but you should have that relationship. And I've been figuring that out. So I've been figuring out my relationship with God and my standards of living, and not more so going off of what the Bible says or what, Catholicism says or any strict religion. I think it's just more so God knows my heart, and that is our connection. It doesn't matter to anybody else. It's me and him, or me and her, actually. I think God's a woman. But anyway, it does present some problems because I think that everyone has issues with a higher power. Like, why is this happening? And you just don't know, and you have to have that faith and that understanding that you may not always know what's going on, why this is happening, what's coming next, but you have to believe that there's something better, there's something bigger, there's something waiting for you, which is why you're struggling right now, which is why you didn't get that job, you didn't get in, there's something better, and you have to believe that to keep going. So, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's drawing time. I don't know if you saw this on any of the other.
I didn't. Okay. Oh my goodness.
So basically, I asked everyone to draw something for the remainder of the interview. Okay. So I have this pad over here.
Okay. I'm a terrible drawer.
No, it's okay.
So.
And I have all of these colors for you.
Okay.
You can just hold them up for the camera. So I want you to pick a color that represents your mood. And I want you to pick a color that represents your life. And it can be multiple colors. Like, you don't have to pick one.
Okay. How do I open this? Okay. Let's put this out. Stupid. I'm trying to open this. My mood and my life. Okay, cannot pick black. I won't pick
I
black.
mean, you can totally pick black if you want to.
Obviously I'm gonna go with blue. That's my favorite color.
Okay. Is that your mood, your life, or just your favorite color?
I think it goes more so with my life.
Okay.
Just because as of right now, I'm trying to find a calmer, smoother way of going through life. I told myself that I need to find a better temperance. I need and like work on my temper and my patience, because it's the worst thing about me, honestly. And so I think that blue represents the way that I want my life to go. Now that I'm sitting here, kind of like the ocean, it's rough at some points,
right,
but then it'll calm. And so I think that that's how I'm kind of wanting my life to go.
Okay.
So this is my life. Because it's very... Yeah. So we're going to go with red for my mood. Okay. Very angry at some points, and I don't know why. And I noticed it with people in my life, how I'm very short and I get agitated, and we'll go through something and I'll snap or I'll yell, and then I'll sit there with myself and I'm like, wait, this has nothing to do with them.
Right.
You're going through something, but you don't know what it is, but you're projecting this onto other people, and that's not good. So yeah, so that's something that I'm actively working through right now.
So what excites you more than anything?
What excites me? Like as a whole, like anything?
Anything.
I don't know. No, I mean, I think what excites me is, I guess maybe having other people that are excited around me. I think that I'm one of those people that I am a lot more excited or happy about my friends or my family doing something, or them being happy. I know that, like, especially like birthdays, like I'm so excited for other people's birthdays, but I'm like, I don't really care about mine.
Okay. So what makes you most upset?
In the grand scheme of things, I think that my biggest, what was this, my biggest, like, what
yeah,
makes
like
me
just what
sad, or,
what
like,
really just like gets to you more than anything?
Dishonesty, and just being fake about certain things. Like I'm an understanding person, and I understand that sometimes it's just not, people are who they are. But I think that what gets to me the most is that if I give you 100% and I'm super genuine and honest and loyal and respectful, and you can't find it in yourself to give that back to me, it bothers me. And not so much that I get upset, but it hurts. And so therefore, the next time I think twice if I want to reach out, if I want to give that all to you. And the worst part is that sometimes it's the people closest to me. And the struggle with that is that even on the second go around, I'm still going to do that for you because I love you and I'm that person, and I'm never going to try to shortchange you because of what you've done for me. And I think that has kind of hurt me in some aspects, because I give my all and then I'm disappointed and left with nothing when people don't do the same back. And I think, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that's my biggest issue.
Do you feel like when you meet new people, they start out with a clean slate and you're, accepting and, treat them well, and then wait until they do something? Or are you always kind of like on guard, like, what are you going to do until someone proves to you that they're not that shady person?
I think that it depends on where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those people that'll blindly give you the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Even first meeting you, because I'm just guarded to a certain extent. And so I know I've been through things. I'm like, the least expecting person has done this to me. And I'm like, okay, well, who knows what you're going to give me? And I don't even know you. So I'm like, okay, we'll keep you at a distance. But I'm willing to see where we can go with that.
Right.
I'm not completely guarded, blocked off. Like, no new friends. Like, no. But we have to work up to that.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any weird habits?
Do I have weird habits? Do I not have weird habits? I feel like everyone's like, oh, I'm weird and da da da. I don't say that I'm weird unless like you've witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I will make weird sounds. I will make like sounds just randomly. I think people do this, but like I'll be laying down and whatever reason I'll just like put my arm up and I'll just stay like this. Like this is super comfortable and and people are like, what are you doing? I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just chilling. Like, leave me alone. Like, yeah, I do like weird dance moves, like, and there'll be no music and I'll just, I don't know.
What's the hardest conversation you've ever had to have?
Probably one that I haven't had, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest conversation that I've had to have as of yet. When I came out to my mom, it wasn't a hard conversation. It wasn't as hard as I wanted to be, but it wasn't the way that I wanted to go. She kind of blindsided me with it, and she blatantly just asked me. She was like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And in that moment, I was still trying to figure it out, and I didn't know. But I was dating a girl, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then so she, in her job, she was dealing with LGBTQ, that community, and HIV and AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
So she, every day she would sit and she would learn about like the clinical side of it and diseases and things like that. And so she was very clinical with me, and she was like, you still have to use condoms, you can still get these infections, and then that was it. And I was like, okay, you don't want to ask me anything else, like, can we like, and she was just like, what else do you want to tell me, like, what else is there? And I was just like, okay, all right. And then I think that from that conversation going forward, it put a strain, because I was like, she doesn't want to know. She doesn't accept this. And so I didn't talk about it with her. Even with my sister, I didn't talk about it. I kind of hid it. To this day, like she's never met that person. That girl I was in a relationship with, and that was 7 years ago, and we were together for like a year and a half, whatever. And that was hard for me, and I think that even maybe it was a year or two ago, we sat down, we really had it out about that, and I told her how I felt, and I was like, you just weren't the way that I wanted you to be. And so she explained it to me. She's like, well, I didn't want to make it a big deal, because it's not. I'm gonna love you no matter what. I'm gonna treat her just the same as I would treat him. It's not, it's not a gender thing. But yeah, that's the hardest conversation that I've actually had.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. If there was a facial expression if you were a facial expression, what would it be?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like an emoji that fits me, but like I don't know. I don't know. I think literally all the faces that I'm making right now while I'm thinking about this describes me. Just like.
What does that face mean? Like,
I think it's.
That face.
It's like, I don't know, but we gonna do it. We gonna try it, you know. I don't know. Let's see. And I think that's kind of how I go through life. I'm just like,
right.
Yeah.
So, share an embarrassing moment.
I don't know though. I mean, embarrassing. I've had emotionally embarrassing things like, you know, people. Like, okay. Emotionally embarrassing, not like, oh, like a bird pooped on me or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just like, you just made me look so stupid. And I am embarrassed that I, you know, was with you, or I stood up for you, or I, you know, said this stuff and you just made me look so stupid. More so those, and I think that goes back to relationships and things. Realizing anybody can do anything to you, you know, and just taking those lessons and going forward with them, I think.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen
in like my real life, or
in
like
your
TV?
Real life?
The craziest thing
where you're just like, oh my god, like, that's insane. Or the craziest scenario you've been in, or something that was just like, I can't believe.
Well, I mean, I can't believe a lot of stuff that I've done. I mean, that I've let people do, and I think the craziest thing that I did was, crazy is relative, because it's crazy and it helped. But I look back and I'm like, you didn't have to do that. I moved to Florida because I was running away from someone, from a relationship, from a whatever. And I think that I made that decision. I moved. I switched schools. I, you know, uprooted my life to get away from this person. And then when I came back and made that decision, like, okay, no, I can't. I'm not going to live in Florida. And I came back and I let that same person back into my life. And for what? I mean, I sit here and I don't want to get whatever, but for what? Because for what? It didn't, and that's a whole different conversation.
What are you most self-conscious about?
What am I most self-conscious about? I'll be honest, and, you know, I don't know, you can edit this out if you want to. Physically, like with me, as a entity, I don't like my boobs, which is weird. Like, I know that's probably not what you're asking me about, but like,
no,
it's just fine. Like, it's weird. I'm not, like, I'm very self-conscious about like that.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't. And I think that the societal norms of what they should look like and how perky and like all that has gotten to me. And so I'm working on it. And I think that has a lot to do with my body fluctuating and being small. Look, I was like 120 pounds at one point, like, wow. Right, you know, and that was due to, you know, depression and all that stuff, and then trying to be okay with that, because, you know, gaining weight is is hard. I mean, for some, but I mean, yeah, so like that, and then, you know, doing all, like, figuring that out, and then being okay with being smaller, and then finally, I guess, gaining that weight, and then realizing, okay, well, you can't fit into that tube top anymore. You can't, you know, and just dealing with that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. What's something that you don't usually tell people or wouldn't want to share, but you will because it will help someone else?
I don't know. I mean, I do know, but it's I'm trying to figure out if I want to say that.
Anything that makes you feel icky, you should probably say.
Mm-hmm. I think that I don't know. I'm not gonna go into specifics because I haven't unpacked that for myself yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that as a whole, if there's something that you have been through, you're going through, say something to somebody. Even if that means writing it down and giving it to somebody because you can't verbally talk about it. Or even just writing it down. I think that, and getting it out, because a lot of us keep it in because they don't think, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed, they are afraid of what everyone else will think, what they'll say. And sometimes it's really not about telling anyone. I think it's more so just getting it out of yourself, and having an outlook on it, or not an outlook, but like a place to get rid of it. Because if you hold it, it will consume you, and it'll take you over. And so I think that, yeah. But then also I want to say this. I think that I did my first therapy session last year, and I was terrified. I was so scared. I'm like, I am not going to sit here and tell some random person what's going on. I just won't, because it's not like they're not going to judge me. It's not like they're going to, whatever. And that was my outlook on therapy. But I knew I had to go, because I was like, this is not it. So I want to say that therapy is not bad. It's not for everyone, but it's not for no one. I don't know, like, whatever. Especially in the Black community. I think that our generation more so grew up with, you don't need therapy, you're fine, you should be grateful for all that you have, all that, and this is coming from adults, guardians, parents, things like that, and it stunted us. And I think that if I could say anything, it would forget that. And if you need that assistance, you need that guidance, you need that help, seek it out. There are people that want to help you, and it's like I said, it's not for everyone, but if you try it, because you never know. I didn't think it was for me, and I was like, all right, I'll keep going. The first 3 or 4 sessions, I just kind of sat there, and I just had a really negative disposition about it, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And she kept asking me questions, and I think it was around the 4th or 5th session, she asked me the right question, and it all came out, and I just cried. And she just sat there and didn't say anything, didn't try to probe more stuff out of me. She just sat there, and I think that was important, because I needed to feel whatever question she asked me, but I needed to also just cry in that moment. I didn't need to verbalize anything. I didn't need to go into more deep. I just had to cry. And I think that that's an important lesson. Sometimes you just have to let it out. Yeah.
Okay. Explain this.
Okay, so usually I think, well, when I was younger, I wanted to start drawing, but obviously I can't. And so I was watching TV and I saw it was a heart. It was like a flaming heart. And I was like, okay, let me try it. And then I saw it again on one of my favorite TV shows, One Tree Hill. If you don't know, you should know, guys. It's pretty much just a small plug. That show, honestly, changed my life. It really did. I mean, I watched it at my lowest points, and for whatever reason,
you watch that? I've never seen it.
It's so good, but for whatever reason, it kept me here, and so I have a really deep connection. Even to this day, I'll say, you know, and my mom, my family understand, and I'll just say, you know, it's one of those days I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna turn on One Tree Hill, and they're like, got it, okay, and that's my coping mechanism. That's like me just getting away from the world, and it's like, okay, let me recenter, let me. And so on that show, one of the main characters, Peyton, she draws a flaming heart. And so I said, this must be like something. Like something is like calling to me about this flaming heart. And so I would draw it on, you know, my notebooks and things and just whatever. And so one day I sat and I was like, I'm going to really do this. And so I took an old sketchbook my sister had because she used to draw. And I did it. And I was perfecting the heart, and I was doing all this, and perfecting the flames, and had the colors. I was painting, and pencils, and oil pastels, and all of this. And I sat there, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was so proud of myself. And so then I showed my mom, and she was like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. And she was like, explain it to me. And I said, well, I guess this is me. I guess that my heart is love, because it was red and it was beautiful, and I was like, my heart is love, but there are these entities that I guess set it on fire, that make me who I am, and they're just these, I guess, rage and anger and all this stuff, and sadness, and all these things. They're each, and the thing that I now that I'm looking at this again and I'm just going through it, each flame is different, so they're not symmetrical, they don't match. And so I think that it describes every piece of me, and it's not the same, it's different, but it makes up who I am. So yeah, I think that's my flaming heart explanation.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
Yes. Everything you said was amazing.
Thank you. I'm Jazmine, and I'm in the flesh.
Yay.